Hey there, how there, ho, there's Jeff. Cutter Dime welcoming you to yet another Stone Cold Hockey video for the 78-79 WHA season. The final season in World Hockey Association history. We have a dogfight between Edmonton, Quebec, Winnipeg, and New England for top spot in the WHA. They put 5 teams to make the playoffs, so I guess 4th versus 5th, and then, second versus third would make the semifinals against each other, and then first place plays the winner of the player prelim. Cincy, for that matter, is ahead of Birmingham by 2 points for that 5th seed, and the Indianapolis Racers are 8 games away from being folding and everyone being shuttled around. The Czech national team and the Soviet Union national team will be playing the WHA teams in the 70s. We will have the full coverage of the whole trip, if you will, and all the standings counted. Points wise, Real Cluche number 1, Kent Nielsen number 2, Markow number 3. I think Reg Thomas is number 11. Jim Corsi, Marcus Matson, and John Garrett are your 3 main goalies. Highlights. Only 8 hat tricks. Um, 4 matches had 30 or more points. Quebec Edmonton from November 21st. That's a massive fight. Quebec was up 3-0, and then Edmonton had it, and then it was a dogfight. It was a 13-goal dogfight, but Edmonton won an overtime sub check, and I don't think I did that game. Winnipeg Birmingham. So Winnipeg up 5-1 on Birmingham in the first game of the season, and then Birmingham scored 5 straight goals. Winnipeg 6-5 against Indy. Winnipeg the win. New England Indy win the second and last New England Indy win. They were down 4-1 to the Whale before winning the game in 6 straight goals. Anyway, the schedule states on Saturday we have Cincy versus Indy, Birmingham versus New England, and then we will have Winnipeg versus Quebec on the Sunday. So anyway, Cincy, Indy, the toilet bowl, if you will. But yeah, Indy, this is 8 more games left. Well, the Racers taking on the Cincinnati Stingers. Michel Dion versus Gary Innes in the nets. Well, Michel Dion there, but Mike Liud would be the better NHL goalie because he was runner-up for MVP 2 years later. Indy with Yeti Meal moving to Edmonton in the Wayne Gretzky trade. Gary Innes, I don't know where he went, but Gary Suke Smith, I think, went to Winnipeg. Nevertheless, since he has Robbie Furter, future NHL head coach, Reg Thomas on the team, Jamie Hislop, Peter Marsh, Craig Norwich, Mike Gardner, who would be a 700 goal scorer for Washington, Minnesota, New York, Toronto, and Arizona. Bill Gilligan, Rick Dudley, another future NHL coach. Dave Deeple, Chuck Lutska, Gerald Maggs, Brian Shutt, Barry Melrose, another former future NHL coach, Dave Forbes, Barry Lake, Mark Messier, in his one and only WHA season. Claude Saint Savort, Gordy Clark, Ed Gilbert, Paul Stewart doing his job, Byron Watson, and Kelly Davis. The Racers have Blaine Stoughton, who would do well for Hartford. Rich LeDuc, Don Larway, Claude LaRose, former Hab, Michelle Parashel, former Nordique, Gary McGregor, Renee Leclerc, Dave Morrow, who I don't know where he went, Larry Sekarak, Al McLeod, Bruce Grieg, Kevin Nugent, Dave Inkpen, what a name, John Hughes, West George, Claude Saint Safor. Oh, he's on 2 teams. He shouldn't be on Cincy. Wayne Gretzky, his only WHA season going from Indy to Edmonton later. Ken Block, Peter Driscoll also going to Edmonton that move. Angie Moretto, Dean McKee, Byron Baltimore, Don Burgess, Jerry Rollins, and Glenn Irwin. 3 minutes into the game. Dave Forbes. Nope. 4 minutes. So anyway, 1-0 Indy. 5 minutes later, Indy takes a penalty, and it's gonna be Leclerc. Another 3 minutes. Baby, it's a kiss from La Rose, and it smells so good. It's 2-0. Racers, McLeod with the assist. Wow, Indy wants to break that damn 11-game losing streak. Since he takes a chance and they miss. Stingers, and that would be Davis. And then he takes a penalty block for 2. What a blockhead. Since he scores, Hislop is 9th from Peter Marsh 2-1. And they score. Power play goal. Fetarek. That's 9 from Dudley and DeBull. 2-2. How quickly things change. 4 minutes later, he scores. He ain't Randy Marsh, he's Peter Marsh. Has 13 from Manx and Norway. 4 minutes later, Jet scores. Red Thomas has 10 from Hislop and Melrose. And Indy's falling apart. It's Frisco. So this scores. Power play goal. Robbie Fetorek has 10 from Norwich. Indy needs something. And they're down 5-2. Oh, cruel fate. What do you have to tell me? And that fight between Dudley and Irwin. Someone has to do it, and it works because Rick Dudley is a pretty good player for Cincy. And they know what a stop by Dion. Since he takes a penalty, it looks up. This game's pretty good. And Stoughton scores from the foul with the 5-3. But Shore and Stoughton. And Jeanette, no. Ed Gilbert from Norwich and Thomas, and the Cincinnati Stingers win 6-3. Indy was looking so good, and the fans are wanting their money back. Indy for 25 minutes had the lead. Well, sorry, they had the lead for 26 minutes. And then Cincy scored those goals quickly, and Innes could not believe his luck. He got 5 goals in the second period. That'll kill you every freaking time. Well, Indy went 2-3. Now they've got a 13-game winless streak. Yep, they're 2-3, and then they've lost 13 in a row. Birmingham, New England's next. Birmingham not doing so well. New England doing decently. Al Smith in the nets for the Whalers. John Garrett's backup. Ernie Wakely, the former Blue, is your starting goalie. Pat Reagan and Wayne Wood will be behind him. Birmingham, they call themselves the Baby Bulls because of all those 18-year-olds who signed on to do pro hockey with the World Hockey Association, and not 19-year-olds like they do in the NHL at the time, of course. Rick Five, great right winger who would do well for Vancouver, Toronto, first 50 goal scorer in league history, and sometimes in Buffalo. Michel Goulet, former Nordique and Blackhawk icon. Rick Aduno, Paul Henderson, yes, that Paul Henderson. Canada Cup 72 hero. John Stewart, not that John Stewart. Craig Hartsburg, future head coach and North Stars defenseman icon. He who shall not be named, former Leaf captain who killed Keith Megson in a car accident. Bob Stevenson, Steve Alley, yeah, he was a terrible captain for the Leafs anyway. Wayne Dillon, Louis Slager, doing his job. Of course, 5 years later, he would be pretty much in trouble for ending the career of Sean Hamel in that Good Friday brawl. Dave Gorman, Gaston Gingras, who would do things with Leafs and Habitants. Dave Hansen, part of the Hansen brothers. Serge Bourdouin, Tony Cazzolato, Jim Turkowitz, Peter Marin, Greg Tebut, Brett Hughes, Gavin Kirk, who was around since the early days of this franchise when they were in Ottawa, then moved to Toronto, then moved to Birmingham. Keith Crowder. To the Whale with the three Hows, Mark, Marty, and Gordy. Andre Lacroix, great WHA player who bounced from team to team to team to team to team. Mike Rogers, who would be okay for the New York Rangers. Dave Keon, former Leafs icon before the WHA came backing. Gordy Roberts, 1,000 games as an American, which was hard to do at the time. Warren Miller, Mike Antonovich, Pi McKenzie, former two-time Stanley Cup winner for the Bruins. George Lyle, Alan Hangsleben, Rick Lay, who was always there for the Whalers. Know that? Ron Plum, Jordy Douglas, Brad Selwood, former Leaf as well. Jim Warner, Larry Plow, Jack Carlson, part of the Hanson brothers. Peter Watt, Jeff Brubaker. You mentioned in the game aggression. It's Stewart for two. Thank you. And out of it, Miller, 1-0. 5 minutes later. No. And skiers. Ricky 5, his 8 from Sligger. 1-1. 5 minutes later. Nice Rogers. Miller and Mark. I don't know. I don't know. It's yours. Second away from Rogers. 6 minutes later. Bring up skiers. Get them in the alley. Steve Alley's 8 from Shingran Turkowitz. 3-2. 2 minutes later, fight. And it's Regan and Al Smith. Al Smith went nuts on the goalie. He'll have to serve a 5-minute penalty. John Garrett will have to come in. I don't know why they would fight. 4 minutes later. Birmingham chance 5, stopped by Garrett. Handful bag. Anthony. He scores from the block. And Al Smith did serve his penalty, so he can come back in the game. And then 4-2. 6 minutes later. Yours. 5 second of the night, his 9th from Gorman and Goulet. 2 minutes later. No. Much later. Gordy Roberts, can Birmingham tie? No. And Michel Goulet scores in the final seconds from Baudin, and Birmingham has forced New England into it. 4-4, we're going to overtime. Al Smith can't believe it. Birmingham has saved themselves. But remember, it's 10 minutes of overtime. 5 minutes in the end of regulation. No, that's wrong. It's the end of the 5-minute overtime. They'll switch sides. Overtime Mark Allen Selwood, and the Whalers win on prolongation, and Birmingham is steamed. They lose 5-4 in overtime. 1:51 left in overtime, and Roberts slams home the winner. And Birmingham can't believe it. Howe and Selwood with the assists. So, yeah. It wasn't Gordie Howe who scored. It was Gordie Roberts. Birmingham and New England would face each other the next day, and New England beat Birmingham again, 4-2, as Smith beat Regan. Birmingham goals by Goulet and Henderson. Roberts scored again for the Whale with Antonovich, Miller, and then Lacroix. All right, so it's Winnipeg, Quebec. We ignore Edmonton this video. Winnipeg brings Marcus Matson, the Finn, excuse me. What am I saying, Swede? My ass. Gary Smith, who would join the Jets from the Racers there too, and Joe Daly and WJ icon. King Richard Brodeur will start for Quebec. with Jim Corsi and Louis Lavassa waiting on deck. Winnipeg Jets had Kent Nielsen, who would do much greatness for the Flames organization in the NHL. Boris Lukowich, whose brother Ed was a two-time skip winning the Canadian Curling Championships. Peter Sullivan, Terry Ruskowski, Willie Lindstrom, Richie Preston, Barry Long, Bill Lezick, Lyle Moffat, Bob Gwendon, John Gray, Paul Tenebrich, Mike Amadale, Scott Campbell, Paul McKinnon, Glenn Hicks, Rolly Erickson, Steve West, Kim Claxon, Bobby Hall, winding on his days, Bill Davis, not the future Ontario Premier, Lars Eric Soderberg, John Gibson, not the former Kitchener Rangers goalie, and Ted Green. Terrible Ted Green. Not Ted Green. Quebec has Real Cloutier, Mark Tartif, Serge Bernier, pretty much a big three in scoring points. They are 12 and 8. So is Winnipeg. Paul Baxter, Bob Fitchner, both oddities. They're English speaking. JC Tremblay, former Habs icon. Gary Lariviere, Paulin Boudreau, who's got a brother Christian Boudreau. Alain Cote, Kurt Brackenberry, Dan Jeffrion, the son of Boom Boom Jeffrion, Francis Lacombe, former SEAL, Dan Hoganson, Norm Dubé, Jules Bilodeau, Wally Weir, Kevin Morrison, Richard David, Jim Dory, Pierre Lagus, and Kevin Devine. Started off by feeling each other. Winnipeg tries to score, but can't. 2 minutes later. Aggression. Feller, but not for Winnipeg. It's Ruskowski for 2. Paul Baxter. Ted Baxter. Deuxième de la saison, le 6 par les Rivières numéro 12. 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Ted Green for 2. Troisième de la saison, le 6 de la Rivière numéro 13. Deuxième de la match. Et Québec mène 2-0. Effect. Une période. Après une période. Real Cloutier. 5e de la saison. Kitchener. 3-0 Québec. 3 minutes. Cartouche. 4-0. Kitchener et Hoganson. 4-0. Winnipeg Steelers. Willie Lindstrom, his 9 from Ruskowski and Preston. I think it was Ruskowski and Preston who was traded to the Blackhawks so that they could keep Bobby Hall. I think 2 minutes later. Winnipeg Steelers. Hurry, hurry hard, swoop. Look what's his 13th from Lezick and Stevie West. 4-2. McKinnon. It's great. Now the question on my mind for Winnipeg is: do you replace Madsen or no? It is 4-2. Yes. They have to go with Joe Daly because Gary Smith is still in Indy. Real the second actually never the air. Geeks. So Cloutier proving his worth. Scotty Campbell. That's good. Carter, his second from Cloutier. That's Canada. It's better than English Canada every day of the week. Oh, Riviere, I thought he was going to score for once. Winnipeg, no. Oh. 5 more minutes. Agitated? Winnipeg gets agitated. Preston. Is it over? Bilodeau. Winnipeg Steelers. Petey Sullivan from Nielsen and Preston on the power play at 6-3. This game is pretty much over. And the Northeastern 6-3. Quebec was up 4-0. Anyway, let's go through the week. Indy again loses. Indy beats Birmingham. Wow, what a win for them. And so Edmonton with 30 points, Quebec and New England 28, Winnipeg 26. Since he's pushing away for fifth, Birmingham doesn't look good. Indy is 5 games away from folding at 3-17. So Gary Innes just can't win to save his life. Yeah, it's weird. Joe Daly is 2-4, but he has a better goals against than like Liu and Al Smith, who've won like 6 games. But yeah, Indy is 3-17. Real Cluche is their first guy to 20 goals. Bernier and Tartif are putting it mildly that Quebec is a really good team and all that for goal scoring and all that. But Edmonton's the Kings right now with 30 points. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. Adieu.